friends, good evening and welcome in to another edition of what we call our World Cup wrap-up at night, live at night. I think I prefer saying that. I'm Alex Parra. It's always great to be with you. A little bit after 11 p.m., sorry, 10 p.m. This is how confused I am in normal life. 10 p.m. at least Houston time. We want to go live, talk about the match that just ended out in Los Angeles Stadium, as they call it. A great match between Iran and New Zealand. Actually, in my opinion, and I'll get to it right away, probably the most attractive match in a day where we had all ties. I'm not wearing one, but we had all ties today, and we'll certainly be talking about that. So jump on in. I know it's a little bit late, but we appreciate you following us. By the way, before I bring in the one and only Victor Araiza, I'm going to have you guys guess what the ball that we have today on display. I'll tell you it's from Russia 2018. You can probably see what it's called because it's showing a little bit, but maybe you guys can tell us what this ball's name is. Yes, every ball, I believe, since 1970, Mexico has had a theme, has had a name, and of course a whole design and intricacy behind it. So that's one of the things we'll get to today. But again, it's great to have you all with us. This is day number 5, if you can believe it already. A lot has been covered already, but still a long way to go. Let's welcome in the one and only. There you see him, Don Victor Araiza. First of all, Victor, if you can hear me, good evening. How are you? How are you holding up, man? It's only day 5, and look at me. I already look even worse than normal. So good evening, Victor. How are you?
Yeah, still excited because this thing's only going to last us a couple more weeks. And then after that, we got to go back to our regular lives.
We don't have to, but we will.
Well, I mean, there's not going to be any more World Cup games. That's what it's certainly not on our home territory. So I think trying to soak up as much as I can as far as these games. No wins today. But still interesting storylines because 2 groups are wide open. And you get the sense now that there could be a little bit more of an upset, certainly in the closing stretch of the group stage.
Victor, let's start with that. You know, this comes only every 4 years. I think that's one of the beauties of competitions like this, like the Olympics, right? It's special. It's got its place in our lives. I think any player that's participated in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 World Cups, it just knows it's something special. But maybe the question is, the rhetorical question is, how much are we willing to sacrifice during this period of time? It used to be 1 month. Now it's closer to 6 weeks. Financially, emotionally, there are people that say, listen, for this time, for the World Cup, certainly for my team, I'm not doing anything. This is my focus, including family, friends, work. We all, I think, deserve that. How much is too much, Victor? How much is also, you know, we talked about the buffet that the World Cup is. At least that's the analogy I brought up. But it's a little bit of something for everyone. Someone can be a diehard fan, literally watch every match. Someone can follow their national team, literally be at every match. Some people can dip in and just casually watch it. I think, again, one of the many beauties of it. But how far is too far? How much is too much in following this competition?
I don't know the answer because we see most of these stadiums and the attendances are still pretty good.
Yeah.
Some of them may not be at capacity, but they're pretty close. And again, that tells you that people are willing to spend to be there. There are some lucky few who got to maybe not have to spend as much, right? But I think at this stage of the game, you're gonna have to look to resale and see what's the price point at which you're willing to bite the bullet if you want to indeed be at some of these games. And for some, I think some of the ones that are going viral, some interviews, the Scottish fans, for example, and this is the first time they're seeing their team in a World Cup since 1998. So they might have had some life savings away just for this tournament that, where it finally came to fruition that Scotland returned.
Sure.
You can see it in these interviews. They don't regret spending the money. Again, for a lot of fans, this is a dream. It's a long time in the making. We knew the United States is one of the most well-traveled countries when it comes to the World Cup. So hosting it here, it's no surprise that um, people would try to go with it in your own country. That's probably what's contributed also to not as many tourists coming into town, not as many hotel bookings, that kind of stuff.
Are
But
we
yeah,
still?
I think
Go ahead, sir. I was going to jump to another topic, but
no,
you
no,
still haven't finished. I apologize.
yeah, no, join in, join in. No, I mean, I was just rambling on at this point.
Victor, Victor, do you know? I saw locally. We're based out of Houston. For many of those you that are following us, you may know where we're based out of. But I saw, I believe it was an online posting in the Houston Chronicle about Sunday evening, meaning after the first match held at Houston Stadium, and downtown expecting a boom or a boost in business. And what I saw
Yeah,
and
and
read
people aren't
was
very happy.
what I saw and read, and again, this is not hard data. Was hey, we're all the people. It's kind of like who's watching us tonight? Crickets. So we've got to the entire
Yeah,
premise, and quickly I'll say this: the premise of what this means, in part, I should say, is the economic boom that should come from hosting these 7 games in Houston. That applies to every city. We know that the FIFA agreement is one-sided, meaning FIFA gets it for free, quote unquote. Yes, they put in money for the production and other aspects of it, but the cities are committing to basically prepare everything from security to logistics, et cetera, on the city or the county or the municipality that's involved. But the boost is supposed to be more restaurants, more tourists coming into town, and spending money, which motivates and helps everybody. Is that happening yet in Houston?
again, there's a lot of reports that say it's not. Certainly, Main Street got a bit of an what is it called, a facelift,
Sure. I need one of those,
and
by
we've
the
seen
way.
some. Well, and listen, I'm sure the weather's not helping as much, right? Yesterday after the game, although it was kind of sunny, but I mean, I don't know how much, the transportation, it's kind of hard. We saw everybody trying to pack into Metro Rail, and I think we kind of talked about this yesterday, and those are the things that I was trying to allude to, where I don't know if those kind of things make it easy for people to get out of there quickly, to want to keep going to local bars, restaurants. If you don't really know Houston, or you're limited to, stopping around Herman Park, Rice Village, do you just go to Ito because that's
Yeah.
where the fan festival was, and that's the area that has been heavily promoted? Um, I think these are the things that we'll kind of find out a little bit more, or have local news outlets will probably dig into a little bit more. But yeah, you're getting reports of some of these establishments that have ordered all this food, made all these preparations, and then crickets. Um, and again, I don't know if we've done such a great job of
Guiding
and we've
people?
talked about this for months.
Yeah.
No, just promoting the World Cup, getting um, our friends over at Team Houston, Jean-Luc Blackburn, they've tried to put something together over the past year, sort of a crash course, right, for local businesses. Um, that's was an independent effort. I think he tried working with the local sports authority. Maybe they didn't want the help. I think from the beginning, you were getting the sense that the sports authority was just about, fundraising for themselves to cover their costs. At no point, and this is my words, you can credit me, Victor Araiza, local journalist, Houston, Texas. I think at no point did we see the local organizing committee really try to spread the wealth around, to the local soccer community, to other businesses that weren't in Ito. I think that's certainly the feeling you're getting with some of these businesses. Now, the other part of it is it somewhat on those businesses as well to do some marketing, to put themselves out there, to
Sure.
promote what it is they're offering. But if you're talking about as a zone, right? I think, yeah, I think they have a case to gripe about why is Ito getting all the attention? Why is everything being steered there? Why is kind of downtown, uh, midtown, maybe Washington, this corridor out here forgotten? Why weren't more of the and granted these are drives now, but why were other communities brought in, right, to try to I don't know, figure out a thing for tourists? Like I told you, you see images out of other cities, Mexico City, for example, and the first images you're greeted with is the big Mexico letters, a huge Doctor Simi in a Mexico jersey. I mean, you the World Cup is in town. You get out of Bush and it's like any other part of the year. And again, I don't know if that falls into FIFA Houston 2026, the city of Houston, visit Houston, Houston first. But I think, yeah, there's a lack
The
of a buzz if you don't go to a certain area of town.
Victor, I don't disagree with that. I think let's say the tourists that came in from out of town for match number one, Germany and Curaçao, are leaving the stadium at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Where do they go? Do they try to go somewhere local? Do they drive all the way to Galveston? Do they come out to Katy to eat? How is that predetermined, pre-decided? Yes,
Well,
there's
and he's been
winners.
lucky
There's
that he
winners
went
and
viral.
losers. There's winners and losers in all of this, Victor. Who's going to get the business? What part of town is going to be promoted? You're right. Just the simple fact of someone deciding that Edo was the place for FanFest. That really could have been anywhere. If you think about it, I guess the logic was that it's within walking distance of the stadium, but that really could have been anywhere. Other cities also are talking about centrally located locations. Now, Victor, quickly, and I don't know this, and we can ask, there's other things like logistics. Look, it's already congested downtown. The Astros are in town. Once you start calculating
No,
those
no,
things,
I
it's
understand.
busy.
But do we really change a lot? I mean, we're lucky we have Metro Rail, and that's been on for years. But
Yeah.
I'm saying there's no extra Metro buses, not that I've seen, right? There's no extra, you know, muscle in the transportation. I haven't seen anything, at least. I know there's parking options, and that's great for the people that can afford it or want to park
By the way, how much
somewhere
was
near the
parking? How
stadium.
much was parking, Victor, at Game One? Do you know what it was going for at the stadium?
From what I saw, and these are the NRG lots. I don't know anything.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going,
The,
but
the private
from
lots.
what
Yeah.
I saw, and I'm going to go to their website now. Actually, um, I don't have an exact number, but it was at least about $150.
Wow.
You have to prepay it at energypark.com. I'm going here now for this is where I'm at, energypark.com. Portugal versus the Democratic Republic of Congo, right? I'm hitting the buy parking sign. And what I have here
And the number
is we'll get it to you closely. You can book general parking. This is basically the blue lot, $125. So
Okay.
yeah, and maybe it might have changed for the other game too. When I had checked, it was about 140, 150 and upwards. There is they do have oversized parking, $500. So I guess that's if you bring an RV or something.
Wait. Slow down. $500
but
bucks. Wow. Like a big SUV or an RV? Like
it says
oversized.
definition of an oversized vehicle is any vehicle that exceeds 20 feet in length, 8 feet in width, and 8 feet in height. Otherwise, occupies more than one standard parking space.
Okay. All right.
Examples include, but are not limited to, large vans, extended length SUVs, commercial vehicles, shuttle buses, small buses, recreational vehicles, and box trucks.
Wow.
I don't know who's going in a box truck to the World Cup.
I was thinking about
and,
driving
and
mine
listen,
over there.
part of this, part of this is the fact that some of the other lots are not available, right? Because they're either for volunteers, media, stadium workers, and again, they have to have a perimeter around the entirety of NRG Park. But again, has this been promoted? Has anybody heard about this? I mean, and I'm sure some local stations are running this information, but I'm saying, as a whole, I don't know. That's why, to me, I kind of I'm a little disappointed at some of these efforts. Again, the Fan Fest, we talked about it back then. When I always thought it was such a small space. I mean, obviously, it was going to get capped off at a certain, um,
For safety reasons, of course.
limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
But
saying, could they have done it at like a Herman Park and maybe accommodated more than 7,500 people? Would that have helped with, again, steering people out because it's right off the metro rail? The other side of it is, listen, we've talked about it. There's a lot of businesses that have been late to the party, and like it or not, Brian Ching's with Pitch 25 and King's Court down there next to the stadium, and Jay, Bobo's Barbecue. Also, I mean, these are all establishments that have supported the game of soccer. And I mean, if somebody's going to make a buck off this tournament, it might as well be them.
Look, it's clearly soccer centric, the Fan Fest, because it's close to Shell Energy, and we've
I'll shout out
yeah.
the Phoenix too. And I know they're not in Edo, so that creates. But I just want to I don't want to forget the Phoenix.
Look, and my gut tells me, Victor, that some businesses are going to report an increase in business, and others are not. And what is that attributed to? The habits maybe that visitors have, the knowledge of what. If you recall, Victor, back in the day when Houston hosted Super Bowls. There were VIP parties. Certain places were selected. Not everybody gets a boom from this. Again, and I also understand the other side, which is, look, this is just making my commute more difficult. This is just getting. I saw a conflict in Boston where a local was arguing. You mentioned the Scottish fans, was arguing with the Scottish fans, making noise in their neighborhood. This isn't everyone's party, and someone's going to be complaining and upset about it. So it's how you're able to hopefully balance all of that.
Yeah.
So,
can I add one more thing too?
Of course.
This is also, and this is another reason why I attribute it to the local host committee. We don't really have, except for, we have one team based out of Houston, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Correct. As their home base, yes.
As a home base, yes. I don't think they're the kind of team that draws a fan base enough to boost tourism here. For the entire city, I mean, Houston is a big city. That's why I also kind of, poo-poo the efforts of not getting more base camps out of Houston. I think it's a central location. Yeah, maybe the weather's not as ideal, but I think you could have made it work. Or I don't know. The fact that some of these, and granted, some of these teams wanted to have being secluded in some of these environments, like Germany at Wake Forest, and in Spain and in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Couldn't you have done something with College Station where, their fans could still come and stay in Houston and be close to the team there?
Sure.
And it still would bring a boost to the city. I think, again, all these missed opportunities. At this point, it's too late in the game. I don't think it's anything we couldn't have predicted, but at this point, it's just a realization that if we wanted to be positive and say, well, let's wait and see till it actually happens. Well, I think that time is here now, and we said it. For some of these fans, listen, the fact that we got Portugal here for 2 games back to back, and their fans might stick around, that may start bringing a boost. We may have Portuguese here for about a week. Let's see if that helps. But other than that, all these teams are basically in and out, right? And it's not absurd to think their fan bases wouldn't be in and out as well.
So, friends, what do you think? If you're living it, whether it's quote unquote good, quote unquote bad, we want to hear from you about your experience thus far, be it at the stadium, be it as a normal Houstonian. Is this affecting your life in any way? Victor, let's jump to today's action. And again, thanks to all of you that are following us. This is the overview we normally give you, just to give you an idea of where we stand with the groups. There's still a lot of action coming up. We're excited about what's happening tomorrow. But one of the groups that, well, at least today, was a group that, to me, was we saw several surprises, was Group H, Victor. And it's incredible to to think about what a day it was with ties, and it started with, I think, a huge surprise: Spain and Cabo Verde in Atlanta.
Big one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
huge.
absolutely. Upset. You could even say maybe we don't call it that just because Spain didn't lose, but yeah, it feels like a win for Cabo Verde, and again, just the fact that a nation like that ties with one of the favorites of the tournament, um, I think it's disappointing for Spain. The other part is uh, this is the first game I think, unless you were a Cabo Verde fan. Um, Imagine spending whatever
Oh
you
yeah.
spent, especially if you spent money to not see Spain win, to see no goals. This might have been the first big disappointment of the tournament for as far as the ticket buyers. But yeah, on the field at least, it kind of again shows you no games for certain. There's going to be some of these surprises in the World Cup, and certainly for this game because of the way the other game went, still wide open. I know Spain's not necessarily, you know, terrorized or scared of going through. They could still remedy the rest of the tournament, but you got to start wondering now um, if they got lucky that another team didn't win in their group and kind of put them in a precarious position. Because again, you want to advance as the first place team.
Absolutely, you do. And look, obviously, you can see what the situation is in Group H. Talk a little bit about Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. That match ending 1-1, and Uruguay. It was a tale of two halves, right? Saudi Arabia coming out and having the better play in the
Taking
first
the
half.
lead.
Yeah, taking the lead, and then Uruguay dominating the second half. Just couldn't finding the back of the net. They found enough, but are both Spain and Uruguay right now clearly disappointed in what they expected to be?
They have to be.
They have to be. And then how do they react, Victor? I guess that's the next question.
Well, I don't think you have to worry too much about Uruguay. Marcelo Bielsa is going to give him a big talking to.
And more.
And I think in Spain you'll probably get the same kind of reaction. But I think one of the juicy matchups of the group stage was Spain versus Uruguay. Whenever they were going to eventually face off, it's the last game of the tournament. I mean, not it's the last game of this group, and it's going to be simultaneous with Saudi Arabia and Cabo Verde, and the Saudi Arabia game against Cabo Verde is going to be in Houston, Texas.
Right.
Spain, Uruguay is going to be in Guadalajara simultaneously because that's again how it works in the last group stage matchups. So it's going to have a lot of drama, and we'll see. Obviously, that game just got even more interesting. It's going to have more eyeballs because of what's at stake. And here in Houston, again, big implications, I think, because one of these could advance as a third place team. You would think their chances are pretty good, especially if they get a victory here in one of these.
Yeah. So far, not what people expected, at least in this Group H. Victor, today we also saw action, if I'm not mistaken, in Group G. So hopefully I'm getting this right. And in Group G, we saw, again, same situation, a day of ties. I've said this already, even though we're not wearing our ties today, but a very attractive match this evening out in Los Angeles, Victor, Iran versus New Zealand. The support Iran had, of course, we talk about the political controversy that's going on in the war that hopefully will come to an end here, and we can get political about all of this. The support there, an attractive game between Iran and Australia. Sorry, Australia. No, they're going to beat me up. New Zealand in Los Angeles. But let's talk first about Belgium and Egypt. Again, Egypt taking the lead there in Seattle early, and then Belgium finding the way to tie it up. And it was even. Again, with this first step in this group, Victor, anything is possible.
Yeah, I think that was going to be an interesting game, but I have to think some people have Belgium going a little bit further in this tournament, maybe even winning this group. And for them to kind of struggle, and granted, it's the first game. Some of these teams are going to have these type of matchups. But yeah, Belgium kind of having to find their way back in it. First place kind of being in doubt here, depending on what happens, because again, we always have that one team that disappoints, right? I mean, essentially, we're not. We just don't know it until it actually happens. Kind of like France at South Africa 2010.
Sure.
could Belgium be that kind of team that severely underperforms? And um, let's see what this World Cup has for us. But you just showed that table over there. I didn't have New Zealand as the number one team in this group out of the first match day. So again, yeah, we talked about the viral nature of Tim Payne and how people were going to rally behind him and behind his team. Obviously, Iran, and we knew they were going to have a big support in LA, and everything that comes around with it. I mean, it just again, that's the other stuff. It's all these things. It is kind of like a Super Bowl, different in the sense that you have so much noise, especially uh, where it dives over into politics, and you can't get away from it. I mean, that's all part of the culture, the story. That's all the stuff that um, seeps in to all these World Cup matches, adds to the pressure, adds to the emotion, adds to the drama. Look, again, the last time the World Cup was in the United States was 1994, and we know what happened with Colombia. They were
Oh
one of
yeah,
the favorites of the tournament,
we remember that
and
own goal.
and
Yeah.
obviously outside factors came, and that pressure was so we, all these things come into play. That's why, and I think they're going to come to play for the United States as well at some point. Look, everything's all rosy now. At some point, we might have media that asks about the political situation in the country. What do they think? What do the players think? And that's all stuff that we've always seen in World Cups, and that's stuff that could affect players. That's stuff that could change um,
It could affect
the
lives.
way that the team performs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, once you get to the knockout stage where it's just one game to decide it, I mean, that's all you need. One bad game and you're out.
Well, let's talk about something else, Victor. We haven't done it in our coverage. And by the way, thanks to all of you that are following us. We're on live here a little after 10:39 in the evening, day number 5 of the World Cup. I'm Alex Parra. Below me, yes, you can see him in the screen at least, Victor Araiza. Victor, I was also, of course, we live in a world where people bet money. They bet money on all kinds of things. I think they call it now pronosticating. They call it all kinds of other ways to basically gamble. But if someone were gambling on the two games, or on these two games in Group H, you pick Spain and you pick Uruguay. Again, I was seeing online that someone put in $1 million bet for Spain to win. Man, someone's losing a lot. I mean, that's the other
The
factor.
entire thing.
No, to win this game, Victor. To win this game.
Wow.
So I think the recoup was $80,000. And forgive me, I'm not well versed in the world of betting. That's not part of my world. I'm aware of it. I play the lotto when it gets to $1 billion, and that's the most I do. The Texas Lotto or whatever it is, the big lotto. But Victor, something I think we're going to dig into in our coverage here is the money that's being won or lost, whether it's above or below the table in whichever market. There's a lot of things that can affect people's lives. You mentioned own goals, you mentioned Colombia, you mentioned all of these factors, but literally you talked about that word, pressure. I love that Billy Joel song, Pressure, for some of you old timers. But Victor, this is even more of a pressure situation. Beyond winning and losing and moving out of the group, people are betting big money throughout the world, and it has a consequence.
Yeah, and again, that's a separate conversation, and that's obviously part of the sport. Some especially for the people that try to make money at these games.
Sure.
That's another reason why some of these upsets, are like you just said, that's another layer to this entire thing that adds to the drama, that adds to the storylines. But yeah, certainly, I mean, we're gonna have some of these matchups. Last World Cup, Argentina lost their opening match against Saudi Arabia. Nobody expected that. I mean, in these are, again, I just mentioned France in South Africa in 2010. I mean, they were the disappointment of the tournament. You're going to have all these games. That's another reason why it's kind of, as a spectator and as a neutral, why it's so good to kind of just lay back and just kind of enjoy them a little bit. Yeah, I can't imagine losing that much money.
Yeah.
And but again, I mean that kind of tells you too that how much of a sure thing people thought this game was, and yeah, maybe study up a little bit on Cabo Verde. Again, these aren't your regular Joe Schmoes that they're facing.
Right. Times have changed, Victor. Even though Curaçao was a lopsided victory in Houston as far as the final score. And again,
No,
people
but
are
they're athletes. I mean, they're players
yes.
that I mean, they're not at the same level, but they can keep up. They're not gonna be cramping in the 70th minute or what
Or,
have you.
or the 45th minute,
Yeah.
yeah. Victor, a lot to talk about, friends. If you're following us, comments help me out, Victor. If anyone has comments or shout outs, we appreciate that. Let's revisit a little bit here, Victor, before we wrap up the day. Yesterday's match. It says today's, but that was yesterday's match. Germany and Curaçao, and the impact that had on us here in Houston. I think that's a big part of what many of us lived, and again, it was a historic day at Houston Stadium, and you can see from some of the images that our team took, everything was on full display. 24 hours later, Victor, and if you have comments or questions from anyone, let us know. 24 hours later, I think the success of game number one, success can be used for defining game number one, from the logistics to the security to the product on the field. Good job, Houston.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think everything, maybe aside from the weather, I mean, everything went as smoothly as you could hope. Um, Close to full. I don't think we talked about this yesterday. There were some empty seats, not a lot, but I think again, just maybe a few more fans could have gotten in there, and maybe tickets that got lost in the resale. Who knows? Some of the hospitality options, I think the suites maybe unsold. But yeah,
I
other
don't
than
I don't
that, I
get
mean, again,
invited. I don't get invited to the suites, Victor. So
yeah,
some other people
well,
are some other people are in every suite. I don't know how they do it, Victor.
you
But
got to
good.
rub elbows with, yeah, you got
Apparently,
to start
yeah.
rubbing elbows with the right people.
I'm in the wrong business. But continue, sir. I interrupt like always.
No, I mean the two fan bases were great. Obviously, big numbers traveling from Curacao. The German fans, obviously, in great numbers, and brought a bit of a European atmosphere with the chants. Um, the Mexican wave, if we were still calling it that, I mean that's part of the spectacle as well.
Sure.
I'm sure Astros fans are going to be mad about that, but again, it just tells you the celebratory nature, the unity of this game. And then again, the goals. I think anybody that paid a ticket to be at this game got a big bang for their buck. 8
Did,
goals,
yeah.
and certainly both sides were happy at the way things went.
Things went. Did they get their money's worth, Victor? The one of the main topics that everyone can find an angle about is the ticket
Well,
prices.
you rather be at 0-0 Spain, Cabo Verde?
No. Personally, with 8 goals, you're getting a bang for your buck. Absolutely, that's definitely it. But again, whether you spend 600 or 6,000, because there's a huge range there. Whether you were in the private suite or not, there were a lot of positive comments about the stadium. Yes, the weather was an issue, but you can't control that literally in Houston. At least there was some air conditioning, so that's definitely a good thing. So getting ready, because we have 2 more matches this week, right, Victor, coming up in Houston?
We have Portugal and Congo Wednesday at noon, and then we have the Netherlands against Sweden Saturday at noon. And so again, we've talked about it before, but we just kind of reiterate, NRG having the roof being climate controlled.
Yeah.
I think that certainly allowed us to get some of these European teams, and obviously great matchups in the sense that everybody's going to be wanting to watch Cristiano Ronaldo, but Portugal as a team, some of the best players in the world. The Congo Athletic, we're going to see if they can, sort of dream and have a moment like Curaçao where they score and maybe, kind of get people excited and the super fan, which we haven't seen really anything on social media but he'll be in attendance, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be another storyline to this. I think it's going to be another tremendous atmosphere. Yeah, I think if you don't have a ticket at this point, you
You're out of
gotta
luck.
par with $1,000 if you want to be there.
Whew.
But Cristiano Ronaldo in a World Cup match, or at least we're hoping Cristiano Ronaldo in a World Cup match. Um, yeah, I mean, these are the things you kind of have to wrestle with a little bit. But I mean, those are two games. We're gonna see um, Portugal again the following week, and obviously we just mentioned the other game, Saudi Arabia at Cabo Verde. That now could have interesting implications
Absolutely.
in that group. And
Absolutely.
the other part of it is, as we're watching the other games, we're trying to see who's going to be maybe the teams that are going to be coming in the knockout stages. I know I was thinking Brazil, but that seems to be in doubt. Scotland could be a pleasant surprise. We'll see what that ends up happening.
Where it takes us. Well, a great segue, Victor, into our last part of tonight's coverage, which is tomorrow's matches. You already mentioned CR7. You already mentioned the star power that he brings. Speaking of star power, tomorrow, France, Argentina, Norway, with huge players, certainly at the international level. What are you looking forward to tomorrow's matchups? And again, very exciting jornada. I like that word in Spanish. France and Senegal starting off the day, 2:00 in New Jersey.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. France, to me, one of the favorites to win this tournament, right?
Yeah, and listen, Senegal is no pushover. Uh, we can discuss if they're the African Cup of Nations rightful champion.
Yes.
But again, certainly I think can make this interesting. And I mean, what else are we going to say? Argentina, the reigning champions. Are they going to get out of the gate slow like they did in the previous World Cup? Are we going to see another masterpiece by Messi? And obviously, again, with the Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo storyline, maybe for the last time, what's Messi going to do that Cristiano Ronaldo has to follow up the next day?
Exactly. So just quickly going over these matches, Iraq, Norway in Group I. We're getting to Group I. Boston, 5:00. These are all Houston times. Argentina, Algeria, will be focusing on that, of course, tomorrow, 8 p.m., played in Kansas City. In the late match, starting Houston's time at 11, Austria, Jordan, out in San Francisco in the Bay Area. So we may be on with this production before that match even kicks off, Victor, because that's really late at night. Talk about crickets. Maybe one of us won't even be watching this program, this production tomorrow. So a lot to talk about in all of these days. Friends, again, if you have questions about the ball that we display every day, send them to us via social media. Our commitment is to be here nightly, little by little, adding some more elements, including your comments, your questions, and your predictions of what this World Cup, this amazing World Cup is. So, Victor, before we go, some last thoughts, please, sir.
Yeah, obviously going back to those games, Erling Haaland in Norway, that's going to be an emotional moment for them back at the World Cup. Iraq had some good fan support in the playoff down in Monterrey, so we'll see. I'm sure they'll bring the same for the World Cup. Yeah, another 4-game day, which again, we're gonna feel the withdrawal when this is all over with, and we go back to about 2 matchups a day. So try to soak it in, try to enjoy it as much as you can. And again, we only have 2 more days of the first match day, and then we start to go into seeing the rest of the teams all over again and getting a clearer picture of what the rest of the tournament's going to be.
Yeah, so a lot still to look forward to. So it's always great to be with you, Victor. By the way, we'll be talking tomorrow about your schedule this week. Victor Araiza traveling to Mexico, then coming back here. He's everywhere. And by the way, you're still looking good, Victor. So that's the huge part of it.
Oh, everywhere. Just 2 places.
Well, no, we have that looking good filter. That's That's why you look so good.
Yeah.
No, great coverage, Victor. And again, we'll be adding some pieces to our coverage for the many days that are still left. You know, it's funny. I look at it as a marathon, Victor, and there's still a long way to go. And I can tell your passion, which is, oops, man, it's going to be gone soon. So maybe a different
it'll be over
perspective.
before you know it.
Yeah. Well, it's still here, and it's still a big part of certainly our lives. And we appreciate, friends, that you make it part of your lives. And please be with us. Please push us along. We want counter opinions. We want your thoughts on all of this. What's important to you relative to this World Cup? Is it the product on the field? Is it the logistics of traffic? Is it the broadcasts? We will talk more about that. Is it betting? Are you winning some money? Are you losing some money? That's a whole other approach. And we'll also have some other guests and people joining us. So, Victor, we say adieu, adios, hasta luego. Thanks for being with us. Also, thanks to our production team. Without them, none of this would be possible. So, on behalf of Victor Araiza, I'm Alex Parra. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you being part of our day. Have a great evening, and until tomorrow, good night.